Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Last week I showed you my electric video where I got it installed from the big house to my tiny house, and this week I'm going to be showing you how the plumbing was installed. Different things happened and different challenges, different tips and tricks that I learned. This video can also be very helpful for those who are looking for land to place their tiny house and they want a mobile home on the land. Because this mobile home already has the utilities installed, it was easier for us to install the utilities underground from an original source. The cost to have utilities installed from scratch is a lot higher than if there is already a source to pull from. Now, your situation is always going to depend on where you place your tiny house in accordance to where the original utilities are at, how many feet they're going to have to dig underground. With plumbing, this was done by the same company that the electric was done by, so the same trencher was used. In that same trench that the electrical was dug, they also put the water pipes. It was easy for them to put the water pipe in with the electrical wire because the electrical wire that I got was direct burial. So that didn't need conduit in order to be put in the ground. Basically the wire is already weatherproof. The trencher guys had to make the decision whether or not to go through the front of my house or the back of my house in order to install the water. Now, since the water lines were going in with the electrical, there was a point where it stopped at the house. Because my water spout is on the front of the house on the other end, it was easier for them to run an extension from the front to the back. When the trencher was trenching behind the house, he hit a bunch of big tree roots. That one tree that I had cut down, which was the pine, all of the big tree roots went to the back of the tiny house. As he was digging, he ran into a lot of them. Tons and tons of big roots you had to get through, but that trencher machine was able to actually take the root out of there and just basically toss it to the side. It was pretty cool what they did with that machine. After the trenching was done through the back of the house, they laid the pipe into the line. But first they had to connect it all together with the PVC elbows and put it in the ground. After laying the pipe next to the electrical wire in the trench, they had to cut all of the roots that were in that trench. And they used a chainsaw to do it. I think they were doing this in order for the dirt that they put to the side to be pushed back in easier, because those roots would have gotten in the way when they did the cleanup at the end. Now that the electrical and plumbing were both in the same trench, he was able to cover that line up. They use these really cool things called pipe cutters. Yeah, I know, I had no idea they existed, but they cut this PVC pipe, which is a really hard plastic, with these scissors, like with just a squeeze. So I'm getting a pair. When they were finished digging over by my tiny house in the back, they ended up connecting all of the pieces to the connection they ran from the front of the tiny house. Then at the house near the end of the digging, they had to connect all of that also with elbows and connections and the PVC. They had to come back a few times. One of the first times they came back, they insulated the white PVC pipe that was sticking up at the back of my house. Apparently the blue PVC pipe is strong enough to withhold the weather, so that did not need to be insulated. After they insulated the white PVC pipe, they filled back in that little hole. They also formed a little brace kind of to secure it. They put like a little anchor, and they needed to use a drill to get into the foundation to anchor this little piece down. Their time was up for that day, so they had to come back yet another day, and this time they were over at the other end of the water to actually hook it all up. Now they ran into a slight problem with the angles of the way that the pipes were laid. In order for these two pipes to fit correctly, they needed to create this little diversion of pipes. Now the next part of the project was pretty cool because they created a valve switch for me to turn on the water for the tiny house. They put a bucket inside the trench that was dug, and it had two holes at the bottom for the PVC pipe to go through. Then they had a lid to put on top of this. so that it could stay out of the weather. Now, when I need to turn my tiny house water on or off, I just go to this valve, take off the lid, turn the valve on or off, put the lid back on, and everything stays clean. I thought that was pretty cool. They covered all of that up, and it was time to move back to the tiny house to try to turn on the water and see if the plumbing is working now. And yay, now I have water to my tiny house. We did run across some problems with the sewer, but that is for next video, so stay tuned for that one. The total cost for the plumbing install was $815. I'm learning a lot during these installs. It is beneficial to know where your pipes are laid on your own land. If you guys are in the market for land and a tiny house, make sure to take note on some of these things that are happening in my videos through my experiences, and hopefully they will help you on your journey too. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications button so you can receive a notification each time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. They added a valve installed from the rest of the way in the back of the house, which was fine with me because, oh no, don't put that. Whether or not to go through the front of the house or through the back of the house with the trencher as an extent, don't put any of that. Now, my water spout is on the front of the house, so that's why they were trying to decide. I don't pipe in with the electrical pipe because the electrical, don't put that. Now, the next step was to cut all of the roots out of the trencher. They ended up putting more connections and elbows to form a, path up to, don't put the,